Hello and welcome to the Mixtape podcast, where every week I take a deep dive into my guests' musical influences and inspirations by asking them to make up an imaginary mixtape. They'll have 6 track choices and they'll have to pick from categories including their favourite cover version, a song they wish they could play to their 18-year-old selves, a song for a romantic interest, and a song they sing in the car or the shower. If you're enjoying these episodes, then please feel free to go to the top of the page, rate the podcast 5 stars, or give us a follow on social media at the Mixtape Podcast and Radio Show. And you can discover over 100 archive episodes just by visiting themixtapepodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy this week's episode. Hello and welcome to today's mixtape for KCR 102.5 and the mixtapepodcast.com. Joining me today, it's an absolute pleasure to be chatting to Damian Kulash from OK Go. How are you, mate?
Oh my gosh, I love your shirt.
Are you a fan of Inspiral Carpets?
I am. I didn't know I didn't know any of them were still alive other than myself.
Yeah, they're still touring. Kim Boone was a guest on my show about the 3rd or 4th episode, I think, a couple of years ago. Yeah, just before they came to Perth. Yeah, fantastic band.
Yeah, so good. There was not much of them in the States, and our bassist Tim was the person who introduced me to them back when we were 12 years old. And they were like the only 2 people I knew who'd ever even heard of them stateside. And they're so great.
Yeah, they never really cracked it in America, I don't think. But yeah, like I say, they're still touring. And I'm sure if you went on their website, you'll catch some tour dates because they've had a bit of a sort of a renaissance really at the moment. And one of the things I was talking to Clint about was how good they sound now. And yeah, I saw them live and they sounded amazing. So good. Yeah, and fun fact, I'm not sure if you're aware, but a certain Noel Gallagher was their roadie when they first started out. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he used to roadie for the band. Yeah, before he was in Oasis. And Clint and Noel and Liam are like really good mates.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Wow. Fun fact. All right, Damian. So we're here to talk about the new album and the adjacent possible, out now on all the streaming platforms, okgo.net, if you want to grab a physical copy. And I'm sure you'll be able to find the vinyl in all your good local record stores. First of all, Damian, the title of the album, where does that come from?
The adjacent possible is a concept coined by an evolutionary biologist to describe the way systems change. That when you've got X number of things working together in a system, they open up a certain set of possibilities, and as those possibilities unfold, those open up even more possibilities. So those are the adjacent possibles. But what I find most fascinating about it is that usually those futures are totally unpredictable in the mathematical or scientific way. Like that, it's often about sort of jerry-rigging the pieces of the system you're in. And I guess for me, it connects to music in that when you put one sound together with another sound, you basically most of the time just get a third sound. It's just boring. But every once in a while, there is this explosion of emotion out the other side. And it feels so magical to me that you can get that this chord plus that chord, suddenly you've got longing and fury and lust and joy all at the same time. And it's something that words could never get to, but feels like such a magical transference from just sound wave.
Excellent. I was expecting quite a deep answer, and that's exactly what it is. Yeah, for sure. I wasn't expecting anything too glib or shallow. And just looking, I saw you dropped a video, your most recent one, For Love, which is a track from the new album. And it's a really good one for fans of your band and your video clips in particular, because it gives like a little bit of an insight. It's shot in quite a clever way. It shows sort of a little bit how the video is put together. Is that sort of the first time you've given a sort of peek behind the curtain sort of thing on how your videos are made?
No, we often do a behind the scenes when we're shooting because our videos are such a sort of big part of what we make, and we have such a specific way of going about it. What we're trying to do is the same thing we try to do on stage. We're just trying to have an event that you want to be in the room for. And it's not how films are normally made, right? Like films are normally all about sewing together something to create the illusion of a reality that isn't there. We want to just document the most insane reality we can actually make. We want to make this incredible art project and then bring you in the room to see it. So it's often the case that we have to show how we're doing it as we do it. Like the video for Love it's 29 robots with 65 mirrors in a train station in Budapest doing this incredible choreography where the mirrors basically make kaleidoscopes and infinity rooms and infinite reflections between themselves. And it's one magic trick after another. But if you didn't see how it was done as you're in the video, it would feel like CG or visual effects that who cares, right? Like it wouldn't have the same sense of wonder and joy to it. And we wanted it to really evoke the same thing the song is about, which is like the crazy experience of love, that like two simple things put together can make this unbelievable infinite universe.
Yeah, no, it's a great video. And like I say, it does add to the joy of, oh, wow, okay. Yeah, and it really opens it up. Also, off the new album, A Stone Only Rolls Downhill, like that made my brain ache thinking about how that was put together, shot and edited. How long did that take? For anyone who's not familiar, it's shot on 64 phones, starting with one phone and almost ending the video on 64 phones. How long did that take, first of all, from start to finish?
It was about 4 or 5 months. The shooting itself, I think there was 8 days of shooting, but they were spread out in different chunks because as you'll see in the video, it's like sometimes you're watching a screen and don't realize that you're actually watching a screen within a screen. And so we had to shoot the first one, to shoot the second one, to shoot the third one. But it was, what we wanted to do was capture the sort of fragmented reality that it feels like we're living in now. I wonder if it feels as dire there as it does here right now, but our universe feels so shaken in the States right now. And we really feel like we need hope more than ever, but also that hope might be a bigger delusion than it ever has been. And that kind of split screen that we're living in feels like we wanted a joyful, inviting way to experience that. And we didn't want it to just be a digital trick. So we were like, okay, we'll actually instead of shooting one thing and chopping it up, we will shoot each part of the split screen separately.
It's amazing. The bit where the arms, that blew my mind when I was watching it. I couldn't believe it. It's such a great video.
There's like a snake made of arms because one of those, of course, is just one arm going through the screen. But if you time it, it looks like the arms are creeping across a whole array of screens. And it's pretty surreal.
Yeah, it's an amazing video. A Good Day at Last as well. Collaboration with Ben Harper on the new album.
Yeah.
How did that collaboration come about? Did you know each other before? Was he a fan? Are you a fan of his? How did that come about?
We're both fans of one another. We're just socially friends, and that song felt like it needed a gang. Like it wasn't supposed to be just it's a song of relief and a song of letting go. And I guess the sound that I was thinking in my head was Magic Mountain by Eric Burdon or Can You Get to That by Funkadelic. This sort of like raunchy 70s like party basically. And so we needed more people in it than just me. And he's the best singer right now. So we invited him in.
Yeah. Are you familiar with an English band called the Polyphonic Spree?
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, so it gave me that vibe, that track, yeah, for sure, yeah. So that just like happy, collective, joyful, and yeah, great track. Just going back to videos, Damian, have you ever come up with a concept for a video and then gone, nah, we can't, like it's too technically challenging, or do you know what I mean? Or do you just find a way to create what you come up with?
The only ones we've really ever totally let go of are ones that have been outmoded. I remember trying to convince Capitol Records years ago to give us the Capitol Records Tower in LA for a few days so that we could light up the windows as a screen, like to make a big, giant lo-fi screen that we could do an animation across. And not only did we leave Capitol Records, so that would never happen anymore, but it also like the facades of buildings have become much higher tech screens than that all over the what was such an exciting idea about that in say 2005 or 2010 has become the norm for buildings in Shanghai. that wouldn't be that exciting to see anymore. But there are many ideas we've never managed to bring into the realm of possible, but that doesn't mean we've given up on them. We just sit there waiting for us to find the time. And there are ideas, we've tried things that just didn't, we just didn't like the way it made us feel. Like, I mean, the fundamental point of all this is to like connect with humans emotionally. And like at the end of the Stone Only Rolls Downhill video, we had come up with this very elaborate idea for how to use dancing bodies to recreate the shapes of faces singing. And we spent so long getting just a test of it done. I mean, like a month and a half just working on that one idea. And when we finally got something pretty close, it was disgusting. Like it was so gross to look at. It was like the fleshy, weird proto face was so gross that we were like, it worked, but not the feeling we want to give people.
Yeah, okay, great. Oh, that's fantastic. Just finally on videos, Damian, of all your videos, what's been the most challenging one to pull off?
I'd say the most recent one, Love, is the most complicated. It took we had 3 separate teams of roboticists, and we're shooting in a train station in Eastern Europe. There's a lot about it that was very complicated to make happen. We did one in a zero gravity airplane a few years back for the song Upside Down and Inside Out. And that one, I'd say that one feels like the most unlikely that we would ever get to do it. And so in some ways that's the most challenging, is there was years when we were like, we got to do a zero gravity thing, but you have to find somebody with a plane first. And we couldn't, it was shocking to us when at some point an airline came along and like, if we let you use a plane, what would you do with it? We're like, we got it. It was so exciting.
I wanted to ask you as well, you touched on it just briefly just then about not being with Capitol Records and obviously going down the more sort of independent, maybe DIY sort of route. What advice would you give to bands starting out now in terms of major labels and record companies and just music biz in general? What would be your advice?
I would say that any kind of art, treating it as a business, should be secondary. It's easy for me to say, right? This is the type of thing you always hear, but it really is true that if you're making it because you want it to be successful, the chances of that being successful are almost nil. You know, that if you're making it because it's awesome, because it's like the greatest thing and you need to make it, then maybe there's a chance it'll succeed. And if that's why you're making it, and then you have questions about like how this could become a business, there are better and worse ways to do it. It's true. But that's already got to be like the 10th thought down the line, because if you're not spending all of your time making the greatest thing that you could possibly make, no amount of business savvy is going to make a difference at all. And honestly, like I have past that, I have so little insight into what anything in the world will be like 2 years from now, that it's already the case that like major labels and the record business and all of that have shifted so much around social media and algorithms as the main sort of listening agent for the universe. Like, it's what will decide if our record, and we've been a band for 25 years, and the thing that will decide whether or not our record gets played by people is not human taste, it's algorithms. And like, the algorithms sometimes reflect human taste, but filtered through a lot of other stuff. And so it's not, how to game that, like the only thing I can say is make the greatest thing you possibly can, and the game will make way for you if it's really that great.
Yeah, fantastic answer. I always like to ask that question of people who've been in the biz for a long time, because I know a lot of up-and-coming bands listen to the show, particularly here in Perth.
You're listening to The Mixtape.
The Mixtape is brought to you in association with Giglist. Giglist is your one-stop shop for all your live events. If you're looking to get out and experience some live music, you can filter by artist, venue, suburb or date. If you are an artist, it will take you less than a minute to list your gig for free on the website. The Mixtape brought to you in association with Giglist. Gigs in a list. All right, Damian, let's drop into the Mixtape track choices now. So my radio show and podcast is called The Mixtape. And so when I get guests on, I like to ask them, as a way of exploring their sort of influences and inspirations, to make up an imaginary mixtape and pick some tracks for it. So track one of the mixtape, Damian, is if you're kicking off your mixtape with an attention grabber, you want to go in track one, side one, attention grabber, what would be a song you would pick for that?
I'm going to go with Hit Liquor by Shudder to Think off the Pony Express record. Shudder to Think was a band that changed the way I thought about music when I was a teenager. It might have come from a different time of listening, even that like a girlfriend of mine gave me a Shudder to Think tape because that's what we listened to back then. And I remember being like, it's okay, but I didn't love it on the first pass, but it was the only tape I had with me and I was painting and and so I just kept listening to it. And by the time I'd listened to it 3 times, it was the greatest thing I'd ever heard. I don't know if anyone gives music that chance anymore. And sometimes the music you hear on the first listen isn't the stuff you want to keep around forever. So it sounds like it shouldn't be attention grabber, but it will be, because just listen to how weird this song is. It really felt like they were inventing a new branch for like rock and roll, and nobody else decided to go down that branch with them, but it is a beautiful, weird branch.
Excellent, excellent. What I'll do, Damian, on the radio show, I'll be dropping the tracks in between as we're talking so people can get to hear them. If you are listening on the podcast or the YouTube channel, there will be a link in the description to a Spotify playlist of all Damian's song choices and a few OK Go tracks as well. And I'll probably throw in a few video links as well. Why not? And track 2 for your mixtape, Damian, is what is a song that you sing when you're on your own in the car or the shower?
Oh, I do a lot of singing in the car and the shower. I'll go with Lay Down by Sun Little.
Tell us a little bit about that track.
Well, it's a sort of just a beautiful, quiet soul jam, basically. Very simple lyrics, very simple, repetitive song that, like, his voice is just so soothing and gorgeous, and it gets under my skin in this way that makes me feel like maybe the world isn't so bad after all.
Track 3, Damian, for your mixtape. What is your favorite cover version?
Oh, boy. You know what I'll do? I hope this one hasn't been done too many times, but Amy Winehouse, Valerie.
That's never been picked, I don't think. That's one of those that not many people are familiar with the Zootons and know that that's a cover version. A lot of people think that's an Amy Winehouse track. But yeah, no, that's a great choice. I'm a big fan of the Zootons. I'm not sure if you're aware, look it up, find it on YouTube, but the Zootons recently covered Back to Black.
Really?
By Amy Winehouse. It is amazing. It's so good. I'm trying really hard to get them on the show. It's a cracking cover version. It really is good. Moody and atmospheric, a little bit more upbeat. Oh, it's incredible. Honestly, look it up on YouTube. The Zootons Back to Black. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I will. It's such a great, the original is great. The cover is great. And it's one of those things, there aren't that many covers where somebody really breathes new life into something. Oh, another great one. The Promise by Sturgill Simpson.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That 80s, I'm sorry, but I'm just looking for the right words to say. That done as a doleful country song is just, it really does bring something new. It's not just paying homage to it. It really brings something new. And that's what Amy Winehouse did. It's like she took that song, and which was already great, and gave it so much depth that it's so beautiful.
Track 4, Damian, is what's a song that you wish you could play to your 18-year-old self?
I'll pick a song that is a cover and that I played on. Is that all right?
Yeah, no, go for it.
It's a collaboration between my band OK Go and a trombone funk jazz group called Bonorama. We did a cover of I Shall Be Released with Al Carnival Time Johnson singing, the New Orleans God. And the reason I play it for myself is because my 18-year-old self needed to be shaken out of a certain malaise about loud rock and roll. Like, I grew up on Fugazi, basically, and I love Fugazi. But around then, I hit this moment when I was like, I needed to believe there was something past angst. And this is a song that I'm really proud of. It's not me singing. It's Al doing. It makes me want to cry every time I hear it, and there's nothing angsty about it at all. And it's what my young self could have heard to be like, oh, there is a future.
You touched on it a little bit there, but the usual follow-up question to that is, what were you actually listening to when you were 18?
So 18, let's make sure I get this right. So I had been very into punk, DC punk in particular, but with a pretty broad ranging taste as well. I grew up listening to a lot of Prince and Depeche Mode and Run DMC and Left of Center. Like the Pretty in Pink soundtrack was really big for me. Remember all that? So psychedelic foods. And that all turned into there was an infusion of Zeppelin and some classic rock around about the same time that Pixies and Fugazi were taking over my soul. And so by the time I was 18, I was just running out of steam with like loud guitars. And I think the things that came in to save it were Post, the Bjork album, was a really big one for me, and Elliott Smith. A lot of Elliott Smith. It took me a while to get there, but it was like that was the thing that reminded me, like, oh, good. I just needed to be blown away by beautiful harmony and beautiful melody, and not just angst.
Yeah, no, fantastic eyes. Sorely missed. Okay, track 5, Damian, is what's a song you'd put on your mixtape for like a romantic interest? If you're making up a mixtape to let someone know you're interested in them romantically, what would be a song you would use for that?
I'm going to go with Stardust by Hoagie Carmichael. There's something about its directness and its shambolic. It almost feels like it's falling apart all the time. That makes it feel really like one person singing to another. It doesn't have the problem of modern music that's too structured and too carefully put together. It just feels like a man in love.
Just to round out your mixtape, track 6, what's a song that you feel is underappreciated? It doesn't get the sort of recognition that it deserves.
I'm going to do this because of your t-shirt. Joe by the Inspiral Carpets. Our bassist, Tim, and I met at summer camp when we were 11 years old. He grew up in Kalamazoo, Michigan, which is roughly 1,000 miles away from where I grew up in Washington, D.C. We kept in touch. Back then, it was phones that were attached to the wall with a cord, and we would talk once every couple months or something, but it was expensive. So a lot of the way that we kept in touch was by sending each other mixtapes. And as I got into more like aggressive DC punk rock, he was getting really into Manchester and British like psychedelia and that whole incredible left of center scene that was happening in the early 90s. And like Stone Roses made it everywhere in the world as far as I can tell. And the Happy Mondays, you got Bez, what else are you going to do? But Inspiral Carpets until quite recently, I didn't know that anyone else even knew them. There was I think that This Is How It Feels was big enough that I think it got played on MTV once or twice. I remember like being like blown out of my mind, like, oh my God, they're on 120 Minutes, which was like the sort of like indie and alternative show on MTV. But I always felt to me like that was such an obvious place for it. Like it was such an incredible energy, and it was like such an exciting. How to just like music was rolling into the future with so much energy to it. I guess EMF took that. Like I remember that EMF song was huge, and that always reminded me of. It sounded like somebody trying to do their best version of the Inspiral Carpets, but it was never as good as the Inspiral Carpets.
I've literally just pulled up Clint Boone's mixtape on my Spotify. It was Sackville that he chose. That was his appreciated track. Yeah, I think we were talking about that, and he said he regretted a little bit that wasn't ever put out as a single.
They have a great cover too, an amazing Stones cover on John Peel that I remember listening to all the time. I remember they did Give Me Shelter. That's what it was. Give Me Shelter on the John Peel radio show, and it was so good. Anyways, we love the Inspiral Carpet. Yeah, Inspiral Carpet. Yeah.
I'll give that a spin on the show as well. Damian, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Good luck with the album, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see you down in Australia on the tour for this album, mate.
I can't wait. Thanks so much, man.
Cheers, mate. Take care. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Mixtape podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to go to the top of the page and rate it 5 stars, or give us a like or follow on social media at the Mixtape podcast and radio show. Don't forget, there's over 100 archive episodes just waiting to be discovered, and all you need to do is visit themixtapepodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.